Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
We're readers and writers.
We're sci-fi and fantasy fans, and this is the best of all worlds.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. And today we decided we were going to try out something fun for a change. Well, it's always fun here, but something a little outside of our normal discussions. We're going to do a book tag. So I was skimming through all the trends going on Instagram right now, and I landed on the Book Besties tag, where you do a tag with your friends. So I thought, perfect.
Exactly.
We can do this tag together and come up with all of our favorite things.
Yeah.
So we'll be going through a series of different questions, just random book-related questions about our favorite types of things in different categories, things that made us cry, things that live rent-free in our heads, all those sorts of categories. So I guess without further ado, let's just dive right in.
Let's do it.
So our first question is, what is a book that got us back into reading? Or into reading in the first place, I should say.
Well, I basically picked out one for each of those questions, so it's funny that you said both. The book that got me into reading, or the book series, was The Chronicles of Narnia, because my mom would read that to us to go to bed every night. So just having that story constantly being told to me when I could finally actually read it myself, that's when I really that's when I turned from, I read books here and there to becoming an avid reader. But when it comes to getting back into reading, because I'm going to be honest, after high school, college, reading was a lot more sparse in my life. It was a rare thing. And in 2020, I got into BookTube thanks to Daniel Green, and he had recommended this book, and it is what sparked me going off and to reading 20 books in 2020, and I've read more than that every year since, and that is Parable of the Sower.
Ooh, nice.
What about for you?
I don't have a book that got me into reading just because I grew up with a mom who was a reading teacher, and so she was reading books to me from before I was old enough to understand them. So
right.
I don't know a time when I wasn't into reading, so I can't really answer that question. So instead I flavored as in a book that got me back into reading after college took away all my reading motivation because I was busy working on reading for classes. And that was Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. So that was the book that I picked up that I was like, wow, this is really good. I want to get back into reading. Because, yeah, similar to you, Michelle, I was on BookTube, listening to people talk about books. And I was like, I want to get back into books again. And a lot of people were bringing up Mistborn as a really good book. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. And sure enough, it was excellent. So I really enjoy Mistborn and that whole trilogy, as well as the Mistborn Era 2 is also good.
I haven't read Mistborn Era 2, but I'm intrigued by how they're going to combine that magic system with a westernized or a Wild Wild West setting.
Yeah, it's kind of got Western steampunkish vibes, which is cool.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Well, our books that got us into reading are wildly different.
yeah, we went very different ends of the spectrum because I've read both of those books and they are not the same.
Clearly, I love being depressed, and she loves really complicated political stories.
And cool magic systems.
And, that's true, cool magic systems, exactly.
Also heists.
We love a good heist. Every book, pretty much, in my current series includes at least one heist or a variant of a heist. I love heists.
The number of prison breaks I've written is just ridiculous. It's just heists with people, basically. It's heists.
Exactly. Heists are fun. We love heists. And I feel like my favorite series involves heists, but it's not a main plot line or anything.
All right.
And I'm so sad because you don't like this series that much, or maybe you haven't read it. I can't remember. And that is the Greenbone Saga. I love that series so much.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I know this is a highly unpopular opinion, but I kind of bounced off the first book. I didn't love it. I thought it was well written, but I struggle with like mafia stories. It's just really hard for me to get invested because I'm just like, you're all doomed. You're all doomed. How can I root for you when you're doomed?
They're not all doomed, though. It's 3 books.
I know. I need to keep reading. And I probably like the next 2 books better than I liked the first one because I've heard it gets really good. But yeah.
And there's a redemption arc. A really
I
good
know.
one.
That's what is like, okay, I gotta keep reading because someone said there was redemption, but man, I struggled with the first book, I will be honest.
And the mafia stuff is my favorite part about it, and that it's like urban fantasy. I think probably I like urban fantasy so much because it's like closer to sci-fi and less like just medieval, slow-paced, road trippy stuff.
Listen, I love a road trip. I can't help it.
Let me guess, your favorite series involves a road trip.
Guess what? It's Lord of the Rings.
Wow, who would have seen this coming?
Yeah, I know. I will fully admit I'm probably not the biggest Lord of the Rings nerd out there. Like, I do not know all the lore, all the details. I'm not a detail person. I am a story and themes person. And Lord of the Rings, in terms of story and themes, is like so on point. So that's the reason I love it, is just like thematically what Tolkien's doing with the story is just, it's so good. It's so good. And I could rant forever about Lord of the Rings, but I feel like I've already done that in a bunch of other episodes, so we'll just leave it there. Lord of the Rings is my favorite. I have a lot of others that are close. Like Wheel of Time would be an honorable mention.
I would have thought Wheel of Time was your favorite, but that makes sense.
The thing with Wheel of Time is I have more issues with Wheel of Time than I have with Lord of the Rings, so that's why Lord of the Rings wins out. But Wheel of Time is still very good.
Or whatever.
Yeah, book 10 is like, if book 10 didn't exist, maybe Wheel of Time would be my favorite, but book 10 exists, so we don't talk about that.
That's fair. Well, I think that leads us into what is our favorite standalone, and we've already talked about mine a lot, so I will just mention it is Cloud Atlas. That is my favorite, hands down favorite standalone book. I love it.
Yeah, so for my favorite standalone, honestly, I just went straight off of my spreadsheet of rankings, and so this one technically is not sci-fi fantasy, but it is my favorite standalone. And I'm gonna try and pronounce this the correct way because it's a Swedish name, but it's a man called Uva, I believe is the Swedish way to pronounce it.
Oh, that book is so good.
I love that book. It's a contemporary. I know, wild, but it's like a little tiny bit redemption arc flavored because it's about an old man who's just he's just given up. Like, he is grumpy, he doesn't want to be friends with anyone, and the new neighbors move in, and then he has to like learn to love again, and it's so wholesome, and the humor is beautiful while still also being heartbreaking, and it's the perfect balance of humorous and heartbreaking, and that's like the way to my heart, is if you can balance those two things into one book, you're gonna win me over.
Yeah. Bachman is just an incredible author in all the books that I've read of his, but A Man Called Ove is one of my favorites as well. I just love the main character. I mean, he's just so sweet. There's a reason it got turned into 2 movies, so yeah. And I won't watch a movie because I'm afraid to cry. So
yeah.
I read that book in a day. That's how much I was into it.
Yeah, that's definitely a book that made me cry, and I just loved it. I think I got it from the library, and I loved it so much that I'm like, I'm gonna go out and buy the physical copy because I need to own this. So.
Yeah, I own it as well. It's such a good one.
So good. That brings us on to our 4th category, which is our favorite mystery/thriller. We decided to pick that particular genre for that question because we both enjoy mystery thrillers, and it's a little bit of a change up from our typical sci-fi fantasy.
My favorite mystery thriller is one of the less well-known Gillian Flynn books called Sharp Objects. I gave it a 10 out of 10 on
Ooh.
my rating system. It's so good. If you like Gone Girl, Sharp Objects is so much better. It's a journalist going to her hometown to solve murders. And if you think you know what's happening, you do not know what's happening. Like, it is the tension, the discomfort, everything. Oh, it's just so well done. And if you've ever lived in the Midwest or a small town, you can just relate to it so much. Like, Gillian Flynn only writes about small town Midwest lives, which I just want her to write 50 more books so I can read more books by her because she's so good at writing. It's such a good book. I love it so much.
Yeah, I have read that one as well, and I think it's excellent, especially like there's more than one antagonist in that book, and they are all very well done. Like, it's just the kind of characters you're just like, oh, I do not like you. Why are you so messed up? Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's kind of tragic, but I don't know. I don't think it's too depressing. I just think it's twisty,
very
It's got the thriller
dark,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it entirely depressing. So, yeah,
Entirely.
dark but not entirely depressing.
Yeah.
So, if you're ready for something dark, you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah. And if you've ever experienced family trauma, no. I don't know how many people have experienced this level of trauma.
Maybe trigger warnings, depending on
Yeah.
what your triggers are, but
Yeah, it's in the name, Sharp Objects. There is, I would say,
yeah.
trigger warning, self-harm.
Yeah.
What about you?
My favorite mystery thriller is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. It is a like mystery slash it's also got like heavy like environmental themes because it's about
Okay.
a woman who's trying to reintroduce wolves to Scotland, but then there's a murder and she gets wrapped up in this whole murder mystery, and is afraid that it's going to endanger her quest to bring the wolves back because there's a lot of pushback, and then like, oh, did the wolves do the murder? We don't know. So
I
it's
like
just
that.
it's a really interesting story, as well as I just really liked the themes. I think wolves are so cool, and so I just like
Agreed.
the fact that it was centered around wolves. So it was like really cool themes, involvement of wolves, interesting mystery. The characters were really good. Like, this was a 5-star book for me. Like, one of my
Amazing.
favorite books, honestly. I think it's my second place standalone behind the one that I called out. So it's a
Wow.
really, really good book. I highly recommend it. I had a great time with it.
Heck yeah. I'm going to have to check that out then because I love mystery thriller,
Yes.
especially
Go
if it can
for
make me
it.
feel something.
Oh yeah, it made me feel things for sure.
Amazing. Well, I guess that leads us into what is your favorite classic?
Yes. So I couldn't choose. Full disclosure. I picked two because I picked them for very different reasons. So
Okay.
my favorite classic for just straight enjoyment value is The Count of Monte Cristo.
Good one. Very good
And
one.
my favorite classic for like psychological, personal, like this impacted me as a human being was
I know
Crime and
what you're going to
Punishment.
say. Yes. I knew that's what it was going to be.
Yeah. So I couldn't choose between the two because they're so different, but they're both so good.
They are. Oh, those are both phenomenal books. I decided to go with a favorite classic sci-fi, but if I were to go
Ooh.
with favorite classics, those would both be, yeah, they would both be on the list. Absolutely. That or
Yes.
Les Mis. I don't know. Les Mis would be up there as well.
Ooh. Yeah.
I don't know. Pride and Prejudice is up there too. I just love Mr. Darcy. I just relate too much to Lizzie as a character. But no, for real, my favorite classic sci-fi is Brave New World, and I know it doesn't have the best character development. It's not the best overall story. I don't care. It changed me as a human being to read that story. And that's why it's my favorite.
Yeah, that's like how I feel about Crime and Punishment. Also, Crime and Punishment is a very interesting
Oh, it's
story
so
with
good.
super good characters. But that one is just always going to be a favorite of mine because I read it in like high school and like the formative time in my life. I was
Yeah.
like, wow. I was grappling with like existentialism and stuff, and that book
Yeah.
did a really good job of like you can't just do anything and get away with
Yeah.
it. There's some things that's like, no, you are not meant to define morality yourself. That is not how it works.
Yeah, I really love that that was like the main theme of that novel and just the exploration of that. Like looking back, like every way that he was acting was super obvious, but I think at the time what Dostoevsky wrote was pretty groundbreaking. He like opened up that whole genre by writing that story. Yeah. Really,
Yeah.
really phenomenal.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know what Crime and Punishment is about, it's like a murder mystery from the point of view of the murderer, who is
Yeah.
dealing with intense guilt and paranoia because he committed this murder, and now he's like, oh no, what have I done? With
Absolutely
redemption
fantastic.
themes. With redemption themes.
There are absolutely redemption themes. The ending is
I can't help it.
just really good. Yeah, that whole story is really good. I read it twice within like a year or two, something like that. I thought it was that good. So
Yes.
I think we've probably talked about this plenty, but what is your favorite genre?
Yeah. Well, obviously, judging by this podcast, sci-fi fantasy is, I'm kind of lumping them together as a cheat because those are technically two different genres. But listen, we lump them together in our podcast, so I'm lumping them together in this category.
Wow. Okay, I did not do that. I went with dystopian sci-fi. I just love dystopian sci-fi. I could never get enough dystopian sci-fi.
Yeah. And then my other one, which we mentioned earlier, but I love a good murder mystery. I like the puzzle, the crime solving, the trying to figure out who done it. Like, is a good time. I read a lot of Agatha Christie outside of my sci-fi fantasy.
Yes, give me a Christie book any time of day. Just anytime you want to have a Christie read, I will be there. The woman wrote like 60 books and each one of them is
so
good.
many. I haven't read all of them yet, but I'm probably halfway.
Yeah. When I got to the ending of Murder on the Orient Express, I was like, shut the front door. I never saw that ending coming. I was like, I need to work on my deduction skills. Granted, all the characters were lying to us, so I'm going to use that as my excuse.
Fair enough. So if you want to hear us talk about more murder mysteries, I think we're both down for that. So let us know in the comments. Do you want murder mysteries? We will talk about murder mysteries.
We absolutely will. Yeah, absolutely.
And what was your other favorite genre outside of dystopian sci-fi?
Outside of dystopian sci-fi, I would have to say, yeah, thriller in general. Just more on the side of thriller, but mystery thriller specifically, like the subcategory of mystery thriller.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mysteries are fun, but I like the thriller aspect. So anything thriller, yeah.
Yeah, gotta throw some drama thriller in there.
Exactly. That's why I'm writing a book that is like a subgenre is thriller. It's not the primary genre, but I love thrillers. I love a story to be fast paced, brutal. It's got me on the edge of my seat. Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah. I feel like the mystery aspect is more important to me, but I can enjoy the thriller aspect too.
Yeah. I'm like, the mystery's fun. I like it. Frida McFadden, I read like 10 of her books last year, and I still couldn't guess the endings, but it's harder for me to put those pieces together. But sometimes I'll guess close. I've guessed close before, but I've never guessed one of her endings, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like usually I guess close. I don't always guess exactly right, but when I do, I'm very satisfied. I'm like, yes.
Why did I imagine the Dos Equis guy? Like, I don't always guess correctly, but when I do,
I drink Dos Equis. Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting drink for you. I've never seen you drink a beer before.
It is not my go-to, let me tell you.
Oh. All right, so favorite characters in a story, male, female, who are your favorite characters?
Yeah, so I split this up into one male character and one female character. So my favorite male character, which may seem weird to you having only read the first two books of Wheel of Time, but it is Randall Thor.
I hear that a lot. I hear people really love Rand, and I'm willing for that to happen to me. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm willing for that to happen.
If you keep reading, I think it will, because he goes on quite the character arc. And honestly, my favorite version of Rand throughout the books is the one where he's like super dark and kind
Oh.
of scary. That's my favorite version.
I can
But
see
I
that
also
happening.
like the version at the end where, he's mid through his whole character arc. But I just appreciate a kind of moderately terrifying main character.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I enjoy. And so Rand's
Same.
just, he's really powerful, really kind of scary, goes through a fantastic character arc. And so therefore he is my favorite male main character.
That is 1000% fair. I am willing to get there. I just finished The Great Hunt yesterday, so book 2 down. Who'd have thought this would happen, that I would actually get invested in
Yes.
a epic fantasy, but here we
Book
are.
2 is so good too. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorites. So
But speaking of long series, my favorite male character, and we've talked about this series at length, so you can just watch those, but it is Harry Dresden. I
yeah,
love Harry
that's a
Dresden.
good choice. Yeah, he's such a good character.
Yeah, but I won't bore you guys with repeated details. If you want to know more, just listen to our series review.
Yeah, and then moving on to favorite female character. I was thinking through examples, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to like a tried and true character that's just stuck with me through the years, and that is Annabeth Chase from Percy Jackson. Annabeth is just the best. She's similar to like Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, where she is like, the token like smart girl. But what I love about Annabeth is that like not only is she smart and competent, but she also just really like deeply cares and displays that in so much of what she does. One of the things that I find most interesting about her character, mild Percy Jackson spoilers, but she was friends with this other character, Luke, who has made questionable life choices, and she just never stops believing in him when everyone else is like, you're crazy, why do you still believe in this guy, like you just can't get over the past. And she's like, no, like I'm standing by this, I know there's good in him and I'm going to stand by it. She's a believer in redemption, and I absolutely love that about her. That she's smart, competent, and believes in redemption. I mean, what more could you want from a female character? She's the best. I love her, and she can also be sassy too, and
Amazing.
all of the best things.
My female main character could not be further from that in personality. My goodness. Like, oh, so my main character is Satan from Iron Widow, who she is a character on a vengeance path, which I know I've said before, I don't really love revenge stories, but essentially she is a really, I mean, for lack of a better word, strong female lead. Like, if I was to explain why, it would be very difficult to without spoilers from the series. But there's a reason the series is called Iron Widow, and there is a reason why she's so good. I'll just say this, she is low-key the antagonist.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, so antagonist as the main character, I love that. I love that so
Yep.
much.
Yep.
Yeah. I haven't read the third book because it hasn't come out yet, but I am very excited to see where her character arc takes her because she has been on a journey.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta pick those up because I haven't
Yeah.
read them yet, but I think they would be good.
They are so good. They are so good. But, I love things that are about the antagonist being the main character. But I think that there's a lot to love outside of that. She's not that horrible. She's not like a bad person. She's just out for vengeance.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But anyway, that's probably a good segue into our next question, which is, what is our favorite trope? We've already kind of talked about this in detail in our first episode, so if you really want to hear our full thoughts, feel free to jump back there. We have a good discussion.
Absolutely.
But in case you've forgotten, this is your weekly reminder that I love redemption arcs. That's my favorite trope, and I will die on that hill.
As if you haven't mentioned it like 20 times already.
I literally just mentioned
it
it in the last question. I love it so much. I can't help it.
Yes, and as unsurprising as this may be, seeing as one of my more favorite genres is mystery thrillers, I love an unreliable narrator. I love, 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 love an unreliable narrator. Give me a narrator that's going to lie to me or mislead me, trying to tell the story from their perspective, only to have the rug pulled out from under my feet. Yes, I love it.
Well, yeah, like I said, check out our first podcast if you want to hear us rant more about favorite tropes. But otherwise, on to the next question, which is, this will be a fun one, books that live rent-free in our heads.
Yeah, I could have picked a lot of books for this one. I could have picked a lot of books. I limited myself to 2, and they're on this list for very different reasons.
So what's your first one?
My first one is actually the first book that let me realize you can cuss in a book, and that is Infected by Scott Ziegler. And so basically the concept is there are these alien spores that come onto planet Earth, and they land on people's bodies, and where those spores are, the alien will grow from where that spore landed. And the main character gets a spore in his manly region. And in order to survive and not be torn apart when the alien excises itself from him, he had to take care of it himself. That scene will live in my mind for the rest of eternity because it was so intense. The book is so good. Like, I really love Infected. Scott Ziegler has such a great, narrator voice. But that scene, I will never, ever, ever forget that. And I read that in high school. Yeah, I was like, whoa. Not even kidding, I wrote a whole letter to Steven Spielberg explaining why he needs to make Infected a movie.
That's amazing.
That's how obsessed I was with this book. Never will get that book out of my mind. It's on my shelf. I will never forget it. The rest of the series is all right, but that first book is so good.
Well, I went a completely different direction with my first pick because I went with Dungeon Crawler Carl.
That's a good pick, and it will also live in my head rent-free.
So this is one of my most recent reads. I picked it up, and it has been living in my head ever since. I can't get it out. I just keep looking at things and going, new achievement! And I'm like, no, stop! So it's there now. It's living rent-free in my head. This is fine. I'm gonna binge the rest of the series. This is fine.
That's a good pick. And I think it's in my mind as well. I mean, granted, I just finished the first one 2 days ago, so it's hard to forget what happened 2 days ago, but...
Fair enough.
New achievement.
New achievement. You are hooked.
Your reward... 10 more books in the series.
Spend a bunch of money. Yay.
Exactly. My favorite rewards are the ones where it's absolutely nothing, and those are my favorite.
Yeah.
All right. My other book that lives rent-free in my mind is a completely different direction, and this book is admittedly not for everyone. So this book is called Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. And the concept is every testosterone-producing human being on this planet turns into a zombie. And so the main characters are these transgender females who have to find estrogen to keep from turning into these zombies.
Oh.
And let's just say the transition from a person into one of these zombies is crazy. There are so many crazy scenes. It's a good time. But it is admittedly not for everyone. It is weird. It is very weird. Would I reread it? Probably not. But I can't forget it, so.
I feel like you went with like things that are stuck in your mind because they were so graphic and like I
Right.
cannot erase this. Whereas I went for things that are stuck in my mind because they were just so cool and fun that I can't stop thinking about them. Because my second example is I've already ranted about it in our Dresden Files discussions, but it's the ending of Deadbeat. Spoilers if you haven't heard either of those conversations, but Harry Dresden riding a zombie T-Rex.
Fantastic. It's so
Polka
good.
will never die. I mean, that is going to live rent-free in my head forever. There's nothing that will erase that. That is taken up a portion of my brain and it will not leave.
Top 5 scenes of the entire series. Hands down.
Yeah.
Top 5 scenes. Such a good one. That is like when I saw that. Yeah, it's an image you literally can't get out of your head ever. Once you experience that, fantastic. Just peak writing right there.
Yes, absolutely. It's so good. But I've ranted about it enough already, so I will stop talking.
I just love how much the books that live rent free in our minds are just so different and what that says about who we are as people.
I know, psychoanalyze that, right?
Oh, goodness. But, I mean, I feel like this is a good segue into the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which is books that made us cry.
Yes. And I learned very quickly when I was picking my two options for this category that apparently the uniting factor between them is Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson is good at making me cry.
Mine are both including major character deaths.
See, weirdly enough, neither of mine include major character deaths. Major character deaths don't usually make me cry. What makes me cry is things being wholesome in the face of tragedy. That's what makes me cry.
Again, what does this say about us?
It's like tragedy? No. Wholesomeness within tragedy? Yes. Bittersweet will make me cry.
Yeah. Kill my favorite character in a brutal way. That will get me in the feels.
Fair enough.
What are your books that make you cry?
Both of these are like final books of Sanderson series, so I'm gonna try not to say too much about them. Just give vague hints toward why it made me cry. But the first one is Hero of Ages, which is the third book of the Mistborn Era 1 trilogy. And that one made me cry just because one of the characters and their character arc just made me feel so like seen in a way that I had never experienced by a book before. It was like this character gets like one of the most like tumultuous personal character arcs that I have been through. And it was just like, wow, somehow Brandon Sanderson knows what this is like because he captured that perfectly. And it was so good. It made me cry because I felt that.
Amazing. And what's the other Brando Sando book?
And the other one is Defiant, which is the last book, the fourth book in the Skyward series, which is an honorable mention for one of my favorite series. I love that series. I feel like it doesn't get talked about as much as it should because it's so good.
I gotta try it again. I do. I read 2 chapters and I didn't get into. I just gotta push past. I gotta try it again.
Anyway, I won't say much about that because again, trying not to spoil, but let me tell you, if you told me I was going to be crying about slugs, I would have been very surprised, but I was in fact crying about slugs. So
interesting. Okay.
I will say no more because it's such a good moment. I don't want to spoil it, but slugs were involved.
Well, that is beautiful in some way.
It doesn't make sense until you get there, and then you're like, oh, wow, why am I... Yeah. Okay, I'm crying now. Okay, this is fine. Yeah. This is fine.
Well, again, my books that made me cry, absolutely included death. And I've already talked about this one in one of our more recent videos, which is the Red Rising trilogy. Morning Star made me cry more than once. And
Yeah.
there's a guy that's reading it right now that I follow on Instagram, and
Oh
he
no.
just got through the first character death, and I'm like, yes. He's like, you guys are evil. Why would you guys be excited for me to read this? Like, you can tell he's been crying, and you're just like, because it makes you feel.
Listen, but I love Morning Star though, and yeah,
Ugh.
part of the reason is exactly that. It makes you feel.
It makes you feel so many feelings. So that book definitely made me cry. And then the other book that made me cry, we have also talked about in our Dresden series review, and that is Battleground, which is the 17th book in the Dresden series.
Oh. Oh, that one. I don't even know if I cried. I feel like I just like went catatonic and went, no.
I cried. I cried. I was mad. I was sad. I was every feeling in between. Yeah, that got me. Especially the way that he handled it in the moment. Oh my god, I was devastated for Dresden. Just absolutely
Oh.
devastated. Yeah. But we've talked quite a bit about those books, so I won't go too far into that.
This is fine. We'll stop ranting about Dresden, we promise.
Yeah. Major character deaths in both of those books. Spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a good transition to a book we recommend, because the book I recommend also made me cry just a little bit.
Oh.
So Blood Over Brighthaven is a standalone, which is cool. So you can just read it by itself. But it's set in this like kind of, it's got like a little bit of a steampunk aesthetic, but like not heavy on the steampunk, but it's like that kind of like industrial age type setting where there's this really cool magic system. And the main character is like the first like female high mage ever in this society that like looks down upon like women as magicians. And she ends up teaming up with this guy who's part of this people group called the Quen, who are from outside this city in a land that's plagued by this thing called blight. That's like a magical like disease that attacks people. And so like they come into the city for like shelter from the blight. And so he's one of the immigrants who moved in from that. But they're very like looked down upon in the society, like preached against in its religion. And so it's like these two like kind of people who are ostracized in one way or another, like they team up and they are working on this big like magic project, and then things go very, very dark. That is all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil, but this is kind of an emotionally devastating book. And if you're here for things that are emotionally devastating but also like ultimately still have a little bit of hope at the end, that would be my recommendation, because it's so good and the characters are so good and the plot is so interesting and it's such a cool magic system. Like, so many good things about this book. As solid 5 stars. I just finished it like this week and I have so many thoughts about it. It's so good.
Color me intrigued. I'm excited. I've got it on hold at the library. I don't know. Hopefully you're still on the book high by the time I get around to it, so we can talk about it. I'm intrigued.
I think this one's probably going to live rent free in my head too, so it'll still be there.
High praise. You're on a good little reading streak
I
right
know.
now.
I'm on a great reading streak right now. It's going well.
I love it. Well, the book I recommend is I read it a few years ago, and it's called Quality Land. So essentially the concept is we're in the far future where Amazon owns everything. This book is camp incarnate. So if you like Dungeon Crawler Carl, it's like that same campiness, except the concept is this guy, he gets sent a pink dolphin dildo. And he's like, say what now? And so he goes to return it. And they deny the return because they say, oh, the algorithm said you want this. So he goes on a journey trying to return this pink dolphin dildo. And along the way starts to learn and understand how the world works. He teams up with a bunch of broken robots. One of them literally can only yell kaputt, which is broken in German. Kaputt! And it'll just like, like headbutt into something. And then there's, each of the little robots has something really wrong with its AI. And it's just a good time. It's just silly. It's fun. It's campy. It's dystopian. It's everything I like in a book.
Oh, it does sound pretty fun. I haven't read that
Yeah.
one, but you got me intrigued.
Yes, it is German translated to English, but it's a good time. It's a really good time. If you like Idiocracy, it's like Idiocracy and The Hitchhiker's Guide to a Galaxy made a baby.
All right. So now we're on to this will be an interesting category. What is a book that made you stay up all night?
This one, literally, I think I read it in a day and a half. I 1000% stayed up late reading this. And I don't think I thought I would like this book that much. And that is The Secret Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab.
Ooh.
That book, I read it really fast. And that's because I stayed up reading it because I was so invested in it.
Yeah, that is also, I very much enjoyed that book as well, which kind of surprised me a little bit because
Same.
I had kind of struggled with some of V.E. Schwab's other books, but that one just hit just right. Like it explored all the things that I wanted it to explore, and therefore I was like so invested.
Yeah. How tragic that the second somebody leaves the room with you, they forget who you are. Like, how tragic is that? And to
Yeah.
live indefinitely, every single person that you ever meet is going to forget you. And the only person who remembers you is the person who cursed you in the first place. Like, how tragic is that? It's beautiful and haunting, and but yeah, no, that was a very haunting and intriguing book that I burned through very quickly.
So, a book that made me stay up all night, I'm going with The Cartographers, which is a book that
Okay.
I feel like this one is not really talked about as much as it should be because it
I've
was
never
so
heard
dang
it.
good. Yeah, they're Cartographers by Peng Shepherd. So it is, my pitch for this book is if you read Harry Potter and you're like, this would be better if it was just about the Marauders, read The Cartographers because that is
Okay.
kind of the vibes it has. It's basically, it's a world, it's like kind of like an urban fantasy where the magic is literally like powered by maps. And as someone who is
Okay.
obsessed with maps, I just could not put this book down. I was like, magic maps, I am in. Tell me
Very
more.
fun. Very
And it
fun.
was just, it was a super creative magic system. And the story was really interesting. We're following like a main character who's like investigating her parents' mysterious past, and like her mother either died or disappeared. I can't remember which, but it was involving these maps and just exploring like how the maps like kind of shift reality based on what the map says. And it's just it's so cool. It was such a fun book, and I think I read it in like 2 days, which for me that
That's
is
pretty fast.
really really fast. So it was so good. I feel like not enough people talk about this book. If you like maps, if you like interesting like unravelings of like mysteries from the past and like a good like fast-paced plot, highly recommend.
Heck yeah. Well, I mean, I'm intrigued. I love anything, I don't know, I really like chalk magic as well. I just like magic that's tied into something like physical like that. Which is why I like
Yes.
Mistborn, because it's all tied to the metal. I like hard magic systems, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a fan of those.
Yeah. So you probably like that one. You probably also like Blood Over Brighthaven because of that. So
Speaking of books that we want the other to read or have had the other read, this is books that make us think of each other. And
yes.
this book makes me think of you every time I see it on my shelf because it was like one of our first buddy reads that we did, and that's The Last Quintista.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not my favorite book of all time, but I really, like, I don't know. I think that's the first time that you and I, like, were like, we're going to read a book at the same time, and that was the book that we read. So it makes me think of you every time I see it. And the cover is just gorgeous. It's just
It
such a
has
gorgeous
such a
cover.
pretty cover. Like, yeah. that was a good book. It was also not my favorite book, but it had some elements that were just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. The whole like getting to the alien planet and how that all went down, that was probably the best part, and I just wish it was longer. I think that's really where most of my issues stem from, is it just didn't take its time. But it is a YA borderline middle grade book, so yeah. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the other books that make me think of you, because we talk about it so often, Wheel of Time.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the book I picked that makes me think of you is probably because it's like top of my mind, and because I read it and because I really liked it too, and we had a long discussion about it, is Cloud Atlas.
Yes. To be associated with that book is such a beautiful feeling. I don't know how to describe.
No, absolutely. Like when I think of it, it's like, yeah, that was a really good recommendation. Like, I'm glad you had me read that because that was a very good book.
I'm so glad you feel that way, because I just love it. I know it's not like the best book of all time, but in my mind it is. Like, even though it didn't rate a 10 out of 10 on my ranking system, it's still my favorite book. It's so good. The layers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's a book that really makes you think, and I appreciate a book that really makes you think. Like, even if it's not like, oh, like thematically this resonated with my soul, it resonated with my brain, and that is also valuable.
Exactly. And that's probably why I like it so much. I like books that resonate a lot with my brain, which is why the other book I recommended to you is Brave New World, which mostly was a brain book, not so much an emotional book. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, this was fun. I could do these anytime.
Yeah, that brings us to the end of our list. But yeah, it was fun chatting about books. Got to mention a few genres and books that don't usually come into our conversation, since we're usually just talking sci-fi fantasy. So I'm curious to know, what are your favorite books that are outside of sci-fi fantasy? What are your answers to some of these questions? And if you've got anything you're like, I want to hear more about that, let us know, and we would love to chat about it.
Yes, and if you have any recommendations based on any of that too, we're all ears. Our TBR may be a million miles long, but who knows? Maybe you'll bump a book up the list, or maybe you'll add a book to the list.
Yeah.
Well, of course, as always, do all the things. Like, subscribe, give your answers down below, or tag us on Instagram if you post something. We look forward to seeing those. And otherwise, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Yeah. Have a good day.